There's no one definition for gender. There's actually been multiple times in my life when I've had people judge me based on my decisions relating to being male. Frequently in my life I've had people tell me that I'm the most feminine straight guy they know, which has actually had both negative and positive connotations on my life. I grew up in quite a feminine household with just my mother and my sister, which for me meant that I didn't have a male role model, and so what does that mean? I learnt to do things and enjoy things that people labelled as girly. There were times growing up, I remember my mum was painting my sister's nails, and not because I was gay, but just because I felt like it was a family thing to do and I wanted to be involved. I wanted my nails painted as well, which for me was just a family bonding moment. I much prefer watching chick flicks rather than high intensity action movies. But had implications in school. I was bullied for not wanting to participate in rough contact sport, which left me feeling quite inadequate. I felt left out. I felt like I didn't fit. I was often ridiculed for being soft and passive in my early years, which made a huge negative impact on my life. I was basically being bullied for my identity because I didn't fit gender norms. This, for me, progressed into high school, where I began to feel really quite isolated. Didn't have a friendship group that I belonged to, and I basically felt like I couldn't express myself to anyone. I knew that men don't talk about their feelings. I knew that men are tough. Real men don't cry. They do. I cry. But for me, this caused so much confusion in my life, and my self-esteem just plummeted dramatically during my teenage years, which eventually led to some quite extreme depression, and an attempt of suicide. The bullying and the confusion and the lack of belonging made me feel like there was something wrong with me. Like it's just in my head. I was like, well, I don't fit this. People are saying that I'm not normal, and no one could really explain it for me, what was going on in my head. And I guess looking back now, none of that's true. But yeah, that's definitely how I was feeling at the time. Yeah. But over the last few years, I came to appreciate that I am the most feminine straight guy that people know. I have people telling me that that's a great thing because they feel safe around me. The content in this course has actually been extremely helpful. I've worked through a lot over the last few weeks. I kind of have a greater understanding now that my identity is formed by my agents of socialization, being mainly my mother and my sister growing up, and influence of the Uniting Church. My values are that a good man is caring and loving and understanding and fair. Not that a real man has to play sport or have lots of muscle and drive a big four-wheel drive. It just doesn't mean anything to me. But I now comprehend that I've also been involved in other agents of socialization which have had a bit of an effect on me up until now. Those being mechanics workshops full of it just seems angry and fast-paced and overconfident, chauvinistic mentalities. But I've actually learnt to sort of separate myself from that because it's not me. It's not who I am. I don't have to be that person anymore. I don't have to try to be something that I'm not. My experience, I guess, examples of essentialism, that gender is biologically determined, that gender is binary. I was bullied for having girly traits. I was supposed to be something that I'm not. I'm male. However, I have different values to hegemonic masculinity. I'm an anti-essentialist. I don't believe that gender is a binary structure. There's no particular way men and women should act or dress or perform. I now have a greater understanding of post-structuralism and what gender really means. Gender diversity actually really means that gender is produced through context, and that the gender norms aren't normal or aren't necessarily normal. I had went through a stage where I considered the fact of whether I was gay simply because I had so many people saying, well, you're gay, like, you're not a real man, you don't fit this, you don't fit that, and, well, therefore you must be gay. Well, no, I'm not. I'm just I'm a man, I'm male, I just have feminine traits. But this course has really helped to define for me that there's no such thing as normal, that we don't fit. A lot of people don't fit. And that we, as teachers, as educators, and as people of society, need to teach and educate young people that each individual is different. Each person has their own gender. Each person has their own identity. And it's not something to be discriminated. It's not something to be forced upon. It's not something that we should look at as a binary system and go, well, you look like a girl, therefore you have to do this, and you must dance, and you... But, yeah. So, for me.